blonde, dark hair.
Okay, all right.
Right in front of Ginger, who has the.
Okay.
And I'll get it. I've sent it back, so I'll get it. I know. It is nice at night, but I like early in the morning and run. So it's still dark until almost 8 o'clock.
She's back.
That's good.
Hey, Christy, can you say something? No.
Oh, God.
Do you have Amy?
She was here.
Do you have Christy?
We're trying. She has terrible service. Okay, go ahead and say something.
Can you?
There she is.
You cut in and out again.
You hear me now?
That was better.
Is this our first variant since we changed it?
Yeah.
We just do it just like we do zoning here. Just ask if there's anybody here to speak for. Anybody to speak in opposition.
I really hear.
Okay, you're still breaking up, Christy.
And that'll be.
Can you hear us?
She may be on Wi-Fi that's reading.
Kind of.
She doesn't want that.
So that isn't, that may be why. We're
No,
the,
she couldn't do anything on regular 530.
Wi-Fi's gonna be, she's gonna speak, and then there's a pause, and then you'll have to speak back. You won't be able to talk like a normal conversation.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's 6 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. If everyone will please stand, we'll say the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Whaley will lead us in both.
Father, we just thank you for this group of concerned citizens who have come to watch the deliberations of your government. We bless this country that has provided us with the opportunity to freely to assemble and to pursue what we like as a lifestyle and as a vocation and avocation. We ask you to bless our state legislators as they go through the end of the session, county and specifically the city government. Father, we ask you to guide and direct the deliberations of your elected city officials. Make us open, sincere, and honest. Make us professional. Make us grateful for this great country that you've given to us. Make us worthy of the confidence that the citizens have placed in us, and make us humble in our deliberations. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the third item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from previous meeting. I assume everyone's had the opportunity to review them. And so do I have a motion to approve the February the 20th, 2024 minutes?
I would like to move the approval.
Dr. Whaley, will you speak into your mic a little bit more, please?
I would like to move approval of these minutes. First, I want to point out that on page 4, the top line there is a typographical error. I would like each vote of the city council that approves the minutes to indicate that they have read the minutes and that they are accurately reflecting the business conducted on February the 20th. And I move their approval.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so with what Dr. Whaley has requested, we'll have a roll call vote. Dr. Whaley?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And Christy? Christy?
She dropped.
Okay, call her back. We won't include her on this one, but you can get her for the rest. Okay, the next item is the February the 28th, 2024 special called meeting. Do I have a motion on this? for approval?
I move its approval with the same prerequisites that it has been thoroughly read, and it's agreed that this is the accurate minute of that
Okay.
meeting.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote. Dr. Whaley?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And Christie?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Number 4, approval of agenda or motion to amend the agenda. Do I have either? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 Christie? Just call her back.
She's on there.
Okay, is she? Okay.
Christy, can you vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Christie. Okay, the next item then is a public hearing, and I'm going to turn this part over to Chuck to go over this variance request, and then we will open it up for the public hearing, and then the council will vote. Chuck?
This is a special exception variance request from Angry Hops Brewery. They are requesting a variance from the front setback requirement, which is normally 25 feet. They're asking for a variance to reduce that to 14.8 feet. My understanding is they wish to put a shed roof over an existing patio at the brewery.
That is correct. And the recommendation of the,
I believe staff, Eric did this while he was still on staff, but I
He
believe
did.
staff's recommendation was
was to
approved.
approve it, it was. Okay, and I believe we've received some information today from the brewery also that is from the state fire marshal, correct? Yep, okay. So at this time, we'll open this up for a public hearing, and if you're either in favor or opposed to this variance, you may come up and speak, and we will have an opportunity up to 10 minutes. Okay? And please state your name.
Good evening, council. My name is Joe Bug. I'm one of the owners and brewers of Angry Hops Brewing. We're here to ask you to approve the variance and the deduction of the setback in front of our building. Our building is a less than 2,100 square foot old service station, which is family owned since the 60s. When we started our lease, it was an empty shell of a building. It hadn't been used for years. We chose this spot because of pretty much the outdoor seating potential as close to downtown as we can get. Our landlord did turn down quite a few other businesses that were trying to rent the space, electricians, plumbers, lawn care. He didn't want it to just turn into another garage downtown. He wanted it to turn into something that was gonna draw people to that side of East Main Street. And we pretty much achieved just that. We completely renovated it, added a second bathroom when it barely had one to begin with. We built a 190 square foot walk-in cooler. Out of this building, we operate a 3-barrel brew system, which makes some of the best beer in Blue Ridge. We are currently using this to produce less than 50% of our potential output, so we can eventually do a lot more than what we do now. After the build out, we had roughly 730 square feet of space indoor for our customers, many of which are visitors to the town and locals here tonight. When it rains or it's cold out, the garage doors are closed and everybody tries to pack inside. When this happens and people show up, a lot of times when it's packed like that, they will turn around and just walk out because they don't want to stand in there when it's wall to wall, armed all the way through the building. During the summer, and it's hot out, it's almost unbearable to sit outside in the sun sometimes. It's so hot with the sun coming into the building, it's impossible for the AC to cool it. There's so much light shining through that it's blinding. It's actually faded. Our fire extinguisher sign is actually pink and white now instead of red and white due to the UV rays that are actually coming inside, and that's on a south-facing wall in the building. Last February, we started this process to build a covered outdoor seating area for our customers, a comfortable space out of the elements outside for them. It'll greatly increase the comfort level inside the tap room as well. Our plan is to build a shed-type roof outside the double doors. It won't be any bigger than the seating area that we have now. Let's see, right now that section is 12 feet from the sidewalk and it's 30 feet from the center of the road. There would be a wooden handrail in place of the ropes, buckets, and posts that we currently have out there. there would also be a short roof over the front door when people come in so they can get out of the elements. Eventually, we will replace all of the buckets and posts out front with handrails and stuff to make it look a lot better. And we'd like to install in the winter, eventually probably get the roll-down curtains and heater on that structure if it's approved, so that we can have more space in the colder months for our customers. If approved, this would greatly increase our covered seating area and help keep patrons safe and comfortable. It will improve the look of the facade of our building. It will also increase the property value and increase our profits too. Our landlord has no intention in selling the building. We don't plan on staying in that spot forever. Growth is coming to that side of East Main, and we're just trying to make the most of it and leave it better than we found it. So if you guys would please consider approving this variance, greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, okay. So we will close that portion of the public hearing, and we will open this up for discussion amongst the council. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So in order to move forward, let's go ahead and have a motion to approve.
I move we approve the ordinance request as suggested by the planning and zoning council, correct?
No,
Yes.
this comes directly to you guys.
Yeah.
So it would be a recommendation from staff, and it would be resolution
So
number.
that was, the staff is the one, okay,
Yes,
well,
yes.
trust staff.
Okay.
I recommend we approve it.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote. Dr. Whaley?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And Christie?
Chrissy's no longer on the clock.
Okay, can you try to get her back? Try again. Please. Okay, the next item, we'll get that signed and get that taken care of. Okay, the next item is consent agenda, and this includes a motion to approve the project for the wet well of the sewer lift station in the area of CVS, and it totals around $49,000. Does anyone have any questions about that? I believe, even though it's consent agenda, we thought someone might have a question. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote. We'll start with you, Dr. Whaley.
Yes.
Okay, Angie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Phil?
Yes.
And Christie? Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item is, these are action items under number 77A, is a motion to approve the updated 2024 City of Blue Ridge Comprehensive Pay Plan. And I know you've all had a chance to review this. Are there any questions from anyone? Amy is not only the city clerk, she's also our HR person, so she can answer any question we might have. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Again, have a roll call vote. Dr. Whaley?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Phil?
Yes.
And no Christie. Okay. The next item is discussion 7B, discussion and possible motion regarding investigation. So just to give everyone a little bit of an update on that, we voted at the February regular council meeting to pursue an investigation to look into to find two different investigators to look into possible allegations of malfeasance of office, incompetence, abuse of power, numerous things along that line. I think we all had a general idea of different things we wanted investigated, and the council voted unanimously to do so. So, Jack, I believe you put this motion out here, and I think, did you have any questions or
No, I'm just gonna
comments?
make a motion when we're ready.
Okay. We can make a motion, and then we can have a second, and then we'll open it up for discussion before vote. Okay, what is your motion?
My motion is I move that we rescind the action taken by the council at the February 2024 meeting to retain an independent investigator to investigate allegations made against a city council member for violating the city charter, and that we authorize no further investigation in this matter.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we'll open it up for discussion at this point, and I would have to say I totally disagree with that, and I would want to ask the council members the two have voted to rescind this, who ask you to answer this question if you have actually listened to the tapes. Angie, have you? Jack, have you?
Absolutely, several times.
So if you have listened to the tapes and you feel that nothing was done incorrectly by either one of you, Angie Arp, Jack Taylor, Bill Bivens, then I would assume, in my opinion, that is incompetence. And it is my further suggestion that, Jack, you should not be able to vote, as you are one of the people speaking on the tape. And Angie, you're mentioned in the tape as doing some things involving zoning that are questionable and would question the ethics part of your zoning decisions. So it is my opinion that neither one of you should be voting on this at this point anyway. Again, that is my opinion based on listening to the actual tapes. So is there any other discussion?
I know that the city and the public are aware of what are known as the Wojon tapes, so let's call them the Wojon tapes. I want to say that these opinions that I have are purely mine, and I have been told, and I will separate myself from the members of the council who have been quoted as saying that they know what the citizens want, that they know the charter better than the mayor, the city attorney, or any other experts on appropriate procedure, behavior, and confidentiality. I'm tired of hearing the statement that there is, quote, no law or charter provision, end quote, that prohibits one of us elected officials from violating the privilege of executive session and then speaking in public about what went on in executive session. I've been in, for 50 years, I've been on the board of publicly traded companies, the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. I headed the Governor's Commission on Alcohol and Abusable Drugs, the Governor's Commission that's created the Georgia Narcotic Treatment Program, the president of the Medical Association of Atlanta, and there must be 15 of them I've been on boards. The sanctity of executive session is very, very real. If a public traded company or our housing authority or anybody else was to share information from executive session, it could be about real estate that they're going to develop. Somebody else could go buy the lot across the street. And Martha Stewart's a real good example of taking executive session discussions and going to prison for it. If it doesn't smell right, it isn't right. And my father used to say, and he was a very well-known attorney, and Bobby Lee Cook and Reuben Garland and several federal judges said to me that your father is has the most integrity of any person we've ever dealt with. This matter, I had the opportunity to go to the Byrd Dinner last week, which is a legislative judicial event at the Capitol. And there were members of the state judiciary, the appeals court, the Supreme Court, and law enforcement, and the law firms that business it is to represent cities, counties, and states. My dad used to always say that this matter is known from Chickamauga to Tybee Light, and you will be surprised to know that people all over the state are aware of the Wojon tapes. They are aware of what's on the Wojon tapes, and they want to know why the city council has not done something. What is on those tapes is on its face improper, unethical, harmful to the city, harmful to persons and property owners. It invites no new lawsuits. It discourages investors and potential property owners, business developers, business clients to avoid Blue Ridge and investing their money in Blue Ridge. And it is harmful to the city of Blue Ridge and to the county of Fannin without any equivocation. What's on there would discourage people from coming to this community and investing and expecting to have unbiased decisions made about zoning. The charter prohibits, specifically, I happen to have it here, generally disclosing information potentially harmful to the city or financial information of a confidential nature that could benefit council members or persons with whom they are talking. This prohibition clearly violated those city charter provisions. You might want to ask yourself why Mr. Wojahn chose to record 2.5 or more hours of private discussions with city council members, and then why he released it in discovery of a lawsuit against the city. Clearly, on the face of it, the information is harmful, and it is beneficial to this person who is suing the city of Blue Ridge. There is no way that the content of those tapes cannot be viewed as harmful, violating the ethic of executive session, and for one of the parties to that tape who made the motion to do the investigation to now make the motion to withdraw the recommendation is nothing more than clearly on its face fear of what the investigation may show, and is countermount to a cover-up. There's no way that Jack Taylor nor Bill Bivens should be able to vote on this motion. They should recuse themselves. If you look at the first motion, Bill Bivens had the good judgment to recuse himself. If you look at the vote later on in that meeting where we hired a clerk, councilperson Christy Kay recused herself because she was third cousin twice removed from the roommate of whoever it was we were hiring. She was so far removed from that person, but she had the good sense to say, I'm not going to vote to hire that person because I am fourth cousin to him. Well, Jack's closer than fourth cousin to these tapes, and I therefore will go with the mayor and say it's improper for Jack to vote, it's improper for Bill to vote. This was the vote of the council, and we should hire the investigator. Now, the city attorney was asked to come up with 2 names. He came up with 2 very qualified names. One of them's $25 an hour cheaper than the other. I had the opportunity to talk to him at this dinner last week, and his rate that he gave to us is 34% of his usual and customary hourly rate. He was born and raised in Copper Hill. He has a love for Blue Ridge. He has done investigations for the NFL, the NBA, and he was the head of the Judicial Qualifications Committee that investigated and then removed 52 state judges, one of whom was a judge in Fannin County. There's no doubt about his integrity. He's worked for governments. He's worked for professional athletics. He's worked for every sort of government, city, county, state, and federal, to do investigations. I do not believe that there is a more qualified person to do it than the one with the low bid. And I would recommend then that we do not pass the recommendation and that we allow the mayor to hire this investigator who is eminently qualified, anxious to do us a service, and who will let the chips fall where they may. And that's the end of my statement, and I therefore have now done my discussion on this matter on the agenda.
And I do
And let
want-
me say, I
Yes.
tried very hard for this not to come up. Our first executive session suggested that we have a resignation from the person. I did not believe that it was fair to Bill Bivens for these tapes to be made public and for the public to be able to listen to them. I tried my best not to get to this point. With our last executive session, this is not violating it because we came out and Jack made a recommendation. Jack agreed. Yes, we need to investigate this. And he made that motion. And all of the council members who voted to do it. Now that the tapes have been out, and the public's had a chance to see them and listen to them in more detail, then I think it's improper for Jack to participate in the discussion any longer.
I do believe it is an act of hypocrisy if you removed Mr. Brian Higgins, who is on the front row tonight. He was removed from a board because of what was perceived impropriety, which he did. He admitted he made a mistake. It was a mistake, and he owned up to it, and he tried to make that known to the public. He was removed from his board, and it was said in this meeting that his character brought a questionable black cloud over this council. And I believe that's what it was said. And what I'm seeing as being mayor and Dr. Whaley, the rest of you are bringing a questionable dark cloud over this particular council. And if I were you, I would ask for an investigation to take place so that you could clear that black cloud. Just the same opportunity. Don't be a hypocrite. You did not give Mr. Higgins an opportunity to defend himself, and you just removed him. But Mr. Higgins, I will guarantee you, believes in his heart that you all need to be investigated as well. So, yes. At this time, is there any further discussion? No discussion.
Bill?
Okay.
Were you asked by one of the council members here to resign?
Yes.
And what reason were you to give for that resignation?
There really was no reason. Actually, I've been asked twice for the same person to resign.
Wouldn't it resign under medical conditions? Do you have a medical condition or something that causes you not to be able to do your job?
Absolutely not.
Would that not allow for a
Could you
cover-up?
speak, hey, Mr. Bivens, would you please speak into the mic at this
Yes.
time? Thank you.
Cover-up?
Would that not cover it up to allow you to resign so it went away? I believe the newspaper in this week's article gave everybody a heads up exactly what I was gonna do. And the reason I was gonna do it. And the reason was very simple. It's a waste of taxpayer money.
A waste.
It's a waste of taxpayer money.
Let me say that at the last part of the comment that I had was, I am confident that in this audience tonight, I could get pledges for the total amount of the investigation, which would be $10,000 or less, and that we would walk out of here with pledges for $10,000, and the city would not spend a dime, Jack.
If that's what
And
you
that-
wanna do, Doc,
that
go
would
right
be-
ahead.
And I'm positive that in this group, there are enough people that would contribute to that.
Okay, then let's vote.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote then. Do you want to rescind your motion or move forward?
I want to move forward with the motion that I
Okay,
made.
so Dr. Whaley,
No.
Angie,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
okay, Christie? So it's not an affirmative vote, so we will probably have to wait until the next meeting because you have to have,
Bill can vote.
I can vote.
oh, you can vote.
Chuck,
I
can
can
Bill
vote.
vote?
I'm gonna say the same thing that I've said. Bill has sought his own counsel as it relates to whether he's disqualified or from voting or not. The statute simply says that you're disqualified from voting on a matter where you have a personal interest. GMA guidance on that says the courts have interpreted that to be a financial interest. But because there are individual consequences to making the decision to vote and not disqualifying yourself, I'm not comfortable as the city's attorney in advising Bill, but I understand that he has sought his own counsel in that regard.
Okay, so Bill, do you feel like you want to vote on this?
I want to vote,
Okay, go right ahead.
and I'm gonna stay.
So what is your vote?
My vote is that,
You vote yes or no?
I'm putting that, yes, I'm gonna stay on the council. I go with Jack. I go with Angie.
Okay. Do we ever get Christie? Okay. Okay, so at this time, that motion passes. Okay. Moving right along. Okay, 7C, an ordinance of the City of Blue Ridge establishing general purchasing regulations. And again, this has been kind of a controversial topic for a couple of meetings now too, just getting our purchasing order in place. So Chuck, I'm gonna let you do a brief summary again over this, and then we will vote on the purchasing policy.
This has come up a couple of times now. At the February 20th meeting, as an interim measure, the council voted to keep the existing purchasing policy in place, but to replace the city administrator with the mayor in that policy. Since then, I prepared a draft ordinance, circulated to the mayor and council for review. I have subsequently prepared another draft ordinance, circulated that to the mayor and council for review. There are two versions of that ordinance in front of you tonight. The red line version is what I would consider to be the latest version, simply because it was the last one that was circulated. The other version that's in front of you tonight is the version that was created after the February 20th mayor and council meeting, but before the February 28th meeting when the item was tabled. So those are the two versions in front of you. Your options are to adopt either one of those or another version, or table it for further discussion and keep the existing policy in place.
Can I ask the city attorney, so the motion that was approved in the minutes tonight, and I said in advance of making that motion, that each member of the city council affirmed that they had read them and that they were accurate, correct? And then that motion was for the city attorney to scratch city administrator and put mayor and designee. So that version that meets that requirement is this version that I think you said is version 3. Okay, the next question is, how did another version get written if the city council did not vote to ask for another version? It seems to me that if the brief that was given to the city attorney by the motion of the city council, confirmed and confirming these minutes, was to create a work product that struck out city administrator and put mayor and designee, how in the world did this new one come up and be created out of thin air and show up tonight? That doesn't make any sense to me. City council made its intent clear, and it's in the motion. How do we get this other version here? Now, I will say that the other version's got some good stuff in it. It changes the cities to county for people who can make a vote. It adds a speed limit for certain department heads. Takes the onus off of the mayor, since we don't have a city administrator. And each of those additions, I think, are good. But once again, it was created without city council direction. The additions are good, except for the fact that it leaves out the mayor or designee as having any authority to spend money. And there's no organization that I've ever been associated with where the executive director, the CEO, or whoever it was at the top did not have authority to spend a certain amount of money under certain circumstances. So to take that away from the mayor and give it to department heads, to me, is egregious and was not done with the advice, counsel, or direction of the city council. City council's wishes are clear in the minutes. So I would like to know where this version came from, how it got typed up, and Amy, how did that get circulated when the one that the city attorney prepared is not the one that came out with the agenda? Can you explain to me how a pirated version that's not done with city council approval was submitted by the city clerk to all members of us and the press for review?
Well, let me just start. The only action taken by the mayor and council at the February 20th meeting was to maintain the existing policy, but substitute the mayor for the city administrator. Doc, I don't see anything in the minutes, nor was there a vote taken at that meeting to give me direction on an ordinance.
Was that
That
voted?
ordinance
Okay.
that I prepared was based on feedback that I got from all of you. We talked about it in executive session. We talked about it after the meeting. I prepared a version of the purchasing ordinance based on that feedback. There's no vote that I'm aware of giving me that direction.
But with eliminating the mayor's ability to spend money.
No, that's not in this version. At the request of another elected official and with input from other city staffers, I created another version of the purchasing policy, just as I would if any elected official asked me to do so. That was the request that was made of me. There are now no fewer than 5 iterations of this purchasing policy that I have prepared with feedback from elected officials, with feedback from city staff, and that's all I know to do. And, you know, in defense of Amy, in assembling the packet, you know, she's also trying to figure out what is the version that I'm literally supposed to put in front of the elected officials. So there's no, you know, ill will among the city attorney or the city staff in terms of preparing these things. We're doing the best we can with the direction that we think we've been given. But every one of those versions, every one of them that I prepared was circulated to all of the elected officials in an email before this meeting. And I have hard copies of both of them
Right.
for
And we
you
did-
guys to consider.
I did, and as I say, there's great things in here, except that it takes the mayor out of the ability to spend money. And so you did write that and left the mayor out. Was that an omission, or was it?
It was direction I was given, and I want to emphasize that I'm not lobbying for either
I
of these
understand.
versions.
I understand.
That's y'all's
The
decision as a
direction
policy,
that was given to you by a member of council was to remove the mayor.
among other things.
Okay, but was to remove the mayor.
But that version also includes feedback from staff
I
and other
understand,
people.
I understand, but I've talked to staff, they did not intend for the mayor to have her purchasing power removed when they were added. And as I have said, there are good features to it. And I think giving them the purchasing power is an excellent idea. And changing the city to the county is an excellent idea, but I think it's a terrible idea to remove the mayor. So I'll make a motion then that we add the mayor, and then we're back to, add the mayor to this one that you just did, that also uses the utility director, the court clerk, and the city clerk, and the mayor.
Okay.
And then if you've married both of those two and corrected what I think is an oversight, and I think what the mayor thinks is an oversight, and I would hesitate to say, I think everybody thinks the mayor ought to be able to spend some money. Can you tell them about the trash bags?
So, yeah, we, also, I've been meeting with staff for over the past month, and I've asked them to actually give you feedback as well, and, to the council. So I think we'd talked about originally the spending amount was $75,000, then it came down to $20,000, which is reasonable. I think Ms. Arp wished it to be $5,000, which really isn't feasible with, even today I was talking to our, park supervisor, and he's over day-to-day for streets and park. And, he said that even ordering, he doesn't have a recurring bill for tissue paper and, in the downtown restrooms and garbage bags. He said normally it runs over $6,000. So he said that would prohibit him from being able to even order that, which is going to cause a problem. My suggestion is move it to $10,000, add me back on there, because the mayor should definitely have the ability to run the city, which is what the charter says. And the mayor has never not had the ability with previous councils. I did allow Eric, as city administrator, to have that authority. So that was us working together. But I feel it's my opinion, it should be $10,000 with the mayor having that, and I'm fine with the rest of it as it has been prepared.
I modify my motion then to put the mayor and designee in there and change the amount to $10,000.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Okay, motion will die from a lack of a second. Do I have another motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number BR 202408 with the red lines that Chuck prepared
Okay.
in version number 3.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Version number 3. Is that correct?
I just want to make sure we're clear.
Yeah, which-
This is version number 3.
Okay, just to make, she mentioned it, so I wanted to make
What I
sure.
labeled as version number 3 is
Okay,
actually the
okay.
third attachment in the email.
Okay,
So
third attachment in the email then.
It would be the red line version of BR 2024-08 that was
It does not
before you.
include the mayor as authorized.
It does not.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote. We'll start with Bill Bivens. Or
Yes.
is Christie on? Okay. Bill Bivens,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Angie,
Yes.
and Dr. Whaley.
No.
Okay. Moving on. Okay. Excuse me?
I said, did you get the meeting in order?
The meeting is in order. What are you talking about?
There's
Well,
supposed to be no.
Let's go on to.
Let's move on to the next item, Angie. The next item is an ordinance to amend Chapter 20 Traffic Code, and this was actually, I think, Josh, are you here? Yeah, there you are. He spoke to us last meeting, and I directed as well as I think maybe Jack and Robbie to ask the city attorney to prepare an ordinance for this. It is state law, so we'll go ahead and discuss. This one does not require a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and we'll open it for discussion amongst council if you have any questions.
Rhonda, so you said you had Chuck prepare this ordinance, is that correct?
So yes, I
Okay.
spoke with
Did
Robbie.
you check with any council
So
members about that?
Actually, yes, I
You
did.
did?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't ask me?
So, well, I'm also I have administrative and executive affairs of the city, and I spoke to Rob, so I did ask him to prepare it.
You do have that,
Yes.
you do have that
Yes.
right, just as I have that right to have him prepare something for a ordinance to come before this council. So just wanted to make that clear.
So yeah, I think what Dr. Whaley's trying to say on that, Angie, not that this is the time or the place, if everyone in this room, everyone on this council wants to prepare something different, it was my understanding at the last meeting when it was brought up before Josh that everybody seemed in agreement to do it. Did you not?
I don't think we voted on that, no, we
So,
didn't.
that was my understanding. I know Jack spoke to, he directed it, and I had no problem with it. I spoke to Rob, and I said, go ahead and prepare something to bring it before this council. But normally what we would need to do is have a workshop meeting for any ordinance, because there is no sense and we did this in the past, and I think it's a great idea. So that way you don't have, we had one point of contact, which was the mayor. And the mayor was able to contact the attorney, which at the time was Siphon. And so everything, you didn't have different council members calling about 10 different things.
Well, I'm not gonna call.
And so that was the general rule on that. That way your legal bills aren't through the roof. So maybe we should look at adopting a policy that would allow one point of contact before an ordinance is prepared. Let's make sure it's how we want it to be. And unlike this one, let's make sure it's all together, which is going to require workshops. But as you just sent out in the text messages, you refuse to attend any meeting that I call. So
Unless
would
you-
you actually attend a meeting if I call it
Well,
for a
if you
workshop?
called me and asked me and told me what it was about and what
But
the
you
need
said
was.
you wouldn't answer my phone call.
Let's-
No, I
So,
didn't say that.
okay, so just checking, I can't do my job if you won't let me, so,
You don't communicate with
Okay.
the council.
moving right along, so,
Is it clear to everybody what the ordinance is?
Probably not.
Okay.
Did you give that?
No.
And I'd like to hear from Robbie as well, since he is the chief of police.
So most of you probably know, but the Georgia General Assembly enacted a state statute this past year that the governor signed into law to allow, commonly referred to as side-by-sides, but off-highway vehicles on county roads. This is an ordinance that, if adopted, would allow similar vehicles on city streets where the posted speed limit does not exceed 35 miles an hour, and essentially otherwise track state law in terms of the definition and the licensing requirements and those kinds of things. But it's on for a first reading tonight, so it can't be adopted until the next meeting.
But this completely mimics the state law,
It's almost verbatim.
almost verbatim.
Yeah.
Robbie, you care to come up?
Do you have specific questions, Jack?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Then you may take the floor, Jack, and ask those questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're the chief of police, and traffic is one of your things you do in the city, correct?
Speaking to the mic, too.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You and I spoke about this law, did we not?
Yes, sir.
And you advised me that it would probably be more of a problem for our police department not to have this law than to have it. Is that correct?
That is correct. They'll be coming in on county roads that come inside the city. that are gonna be legal for the state roads or the county roads in the state. If they come in, say, Ada Street 76, and they entered up on, when they cross inside the city limits, they'd be illegal. I don't see any difference in that, and it would be cause confusion for just the motoring public. So it'd just make it easier and fair for the folks if they come in to get gas for them. There's no difference. There wouldn't be difference in any of the road situations.
So I guess my question is then, is it gonna cause any more problem for the police department as far as enforcement?
No, I mean, they'll be treated like any motor vehicle on the roadway. Like I said, it mimics state law that allows them on county roads.
Then you're for this law to be passed?
Yeah, it would be easier enforcement.
Okay, thank you, Robbie.
Okay, are there any other questions? Bill, do you have anything?
I have one question for him.
Can you speak into the mic,
They have
please?
to be street legal, have lights, have turn
Yeah,
signals?
they'll get their registered through the state of Georgia, and like I said, they'll be
You
tagged.
have to license?
Yes, license plate and licensed driver, yes. All the rules of the road apply to those vehicles.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Any other questions? Okay, so we'll vote on this one
Next.
the next meeting, okay? So the next item on the agenda, what is the next item here? Okay, this one is a discussion and possible motion for the sidewalk and street infrastructure improvements. So I want to make something clear. At our February meeting, it was brought up that we had a project, it was a restroom project, and it was also the street improvement project. And so I made a statement that we have money to do it all, which we did, because the streets that were on the list were totaling up to, I think it was $960,000 with the estimated cost, somewhere in that area. We also had money in the budget for the downtown restrooms. So I had a council member question me as to what I mean by all streets. So I've tried to, what I did, we've done a study of the streets. And also, if you'll see something that says Geo Hydro Engineers. So this one is a study that was, you guys procured Carter and Sloop to do this. It was completed in September of 2022, and it has a list of all streets in Blue Ridge in order of importance for paving. They're either highlighted as red, which means urgent. The others are yellow and then green. So the list that we received that you guys tabled earlier in the year, it included everything that was a red item. So it was tabled, and I believe we've gotten back. We had a council member get with one of the street supervisors and came up with another list. But this morning we met with the group of people from the city, including Matt from Carter and Sloop. There were 7 of us. It included myself, Matt from Carter and Sloop, Becky Harkins, who's over sewer and water, 2 of our sewer water employees, and then our street supervisor and our park supervisor, who's also overseeing day-to-day with streets. So we all met together and came up with a modified list on that, because a lot of the properties on this first list that was given as part of the agenda packet aren't ready for paving, simply because they have some sewer water lines that need to be repaired at this point. Ada Street's on the list, but it's a project that needs a street widening. It needs expansion of the streets. So we want to make sure those are done correctly. So this group this morning came up with a list, and the list is actually, see, Denny, you're here, aren't you? Yeah, come up to the mic if you don't mind. Denny was part of the project this morning, our meeting, and it was a very actually good meeting. We all worked together. We talked through all these streets, and what we did, we came up with a plan for this year. But what I was saying with the budget, we have a 5-year capital outlay for street paving. So this year we have over $1 million. We actually have 1.2 in the budget, but we're adding another 250, I believe, because what we didn't use last year. So we've got right at 1.4 million this year. So for the next 5 years, if you look at your budget that you guys voted on last year, so the budget has, for capital outlay for the next 5 years, it's got $1 million every year for street projects. So that should, in my opinion, and really, I guess today people for the meeting, it's pretty much that should cover what we have that we need to pave or repave, and that includes sidewalks as well. So, you know, just to make sure, no, we don't have enough money to cover everything for every street today, but when you look at the 5-year outlay, that's what we have. The streets that are on this hydro engineering, those, the ones that are yellow, they don't really even necessarily need it right now. So just want to make sure I clarify that, if there's any confusion from the public, okay? So, Denny, will you tell us which streets we are looking at based on all the factors that we're discussing, and then what we're doing for phase 1 and phase 2, what we're suggesting? And then we'll have you guys vote on it. That way you can vote on the suggested streets, and then we'll get the quotes, okay?
Our suggested streets that we're gonna start with, as, per we discussed, we've took some off and added some to. Sierra Lane is one. East Second Street will be done. It'll be milled up and redone. The sidewalk, I'm gonna say this right here, before we ever get any further. As far as the sidewalks are concerned, the sidewalks and the streets should be totally separate. They should be done in two separate things. I never agreed with that when we done that in the first place, because it really, we used Johnson's to do it, and Johnson's really just done it as a favor to the city, just to help us. They don't do concrete. They do asphalt. That's their specialty. So that is something, the sidewalks and stuff is something that we need to do separate with concrete people that know exactly what they're doing. So with that being said, East Second Street is one of them. There is some problems with the sidewalks, but our plan is to cut the bad spots out of the sidewalk, re-pour those back to save us money, and then we're gonna acid wash everything to make everything look brand new. As far as that, Ridge Street is another one that we added. East First Street, as me and Angie have discussed, we're gonna do it from Industrial Boulevard, which is right down here, right below the drive-in, where the State Patrol office is. And we're gonna bring it all the way to Mountain Street, because that section of the road is really falling apart, and it really needs to be repaired and fixed.
And you can't do it past it also because we have a lot of sewer issues that we've got to get resolved on that side as
Yes.
far as, so there would be no sense to do that all the
But
way.
there's bad sidewalks on that too.
Yes,
Yeah,
and,
so
and
that's
we're
gonna be
gonna
done too.
address,
Yeah,
we're gonna
okay.
address that, yes.
Yeah.
The next one will be Carter Street, and of course Josh Hall is another one that's on this right here,
Yep.
which is coming apart pretty bad, so we need to really address that, because that is a corridor off the 4-lane, so we need to address that. Phase 2, as, the mayor said, Ada Street, our plan was we was gonna try to widen that and make it wider than what we got. But after talking with Matt with Carter and Sloop, and we looked at it today, and he looked at it today, he said to widen it, to make it as wide as we really wanted to, it'd be a huge cost, because we'd have to go in and redo storm drains and redo that whole road. So my suggestion is, I've got enough right of way to pull a foot on either side, so it'll make it safer and wider that much, so that way it'll widen that whole road a little bit, but it'll cut down on our costs on that, and that is something
Yeah.
that y'all can discuss and work on.
And we had
whatever.
talked about that. He's going to go back and make sure wherever we need the easements that they're in place. And I think you're gonna get that to us by next month.
Yes.
And then we're going to make sure if there are any areas, because if you've ever been down Ada Street, it kind of goes in, it goes out. It's a mess right now. So we want, my thing is let's do it correctly. And so if we can widen it where we can, he's gonna work on getting that for us. And same thing with the next one, correct?
Yeah, Davis Street is another street that people
Yeah.
use to come on and off of Ada Street back to, West First Street. And so we need to really correct that road. It's narrow, so we need to fix that and try to widen it. So we got to do some research and find out what our right of way is and our setbacks is, so we can pull all that stuff. And we're gonna try to widen that road and make it wider, so it's easier for people to use that.
Tell them about the striping, please.
Yes, and what we have done, what I have decided to do as a street supervisor to save the city money, we have our own striping machine. We went and I sent my guys yesterday to Transsafe. They bought all the paint to restripe most of the roads in the city. So our plan is to start striping once the weather gets a little bit warmer. The roads have to be 60 degrees, so with the paint it will stick and dry. So our plan is to start striping the roads that really need it bad, like Windy Ridge, 076, and places like that that's really, that people are having trouble.
Yep.
So if any of y'all have any questions at this point.
And then also, I guess with the price we're gonna get for these, with the paving, the company will use those for striping, so
Yes.
that'll be good.
So these roads right
Okay.
here, what I just discussed right here, is what y'all can discuss and
So,
decide. if you
so
want
here's
that.
what I would like to ask the council to do for the first phase. Go ahead and let's approve those tonight, and then we'll approve to get quotes for them. And it's still, you're looking probably by the time you go through the quote process at, probably 2 to 3 months at least. And then Denny will come back to us next month with the others, and I feel like we'll probably have enough money to cover all of these this year, especially with the 250 we're moving back from last, that we're gonna put back in the budget. So that's what I'd like to ask the council to approve this particular first list, phase 1, tonight.
One other thing that you need to realize is the roads that are not heavily traveled, like 076 or East First, Top Street, whatever y'all want to call it, that's a heavily traveled road, so that road will be milled down and redone. But the roads that are not heavily traveled, to save the city money, I'm not gonna mill those down. I'm just gonna resurface them. We're gonna have them resurfaced.
Unless
That way
they're-
it's saving,
yeah.
unless they're just,
They're just horrible.
Horrible.
Sierra Lane may be. I'm not sure. So
What
you
about
can,
it-
but you can look at that.
What about East Second and Ada Street, though?
East Second and Ada Street. East Second is already on this list, so it'll be what you vote on.
Well-
Ada Street is the only thing that we're gonna let y'all look at. I'll get everything together for next month.
He's coming back to us. next month.
It's coming back to you, as
Okay.
far as, I gotta make sure I've got the right of way and the easements to do everything that we need to do.
Right, well, I was meaning about being milled down.
It will be that road will probably need to be milled down, cause it's heavily traveled.
Yeah.
It's a corridor
And East
too.
Second Street is too.
And when they start the Highway 5 expansion, the city roads are gonna really take a beating.
Yeah.
So, cause everybody's gonna be using back roads and Ada Street to get around all the construction on Highway 5.
Right.
Okay,
So,
good deal. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve phase 1 for getting those out to bid?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's have a roll call. Dr. Whaley?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Is Christie there? Okay. All right. So, let's see. I believe that's it. I've lost my agenda. Okay, actually, the next thing is, we have no discussion items other than that. I do want to give a report under number 9. We met with Carter and Sloop this morning, and it was a project meeting for the stormwater project. That is scheduled to begin next on the 28th. They will start moving in construction material in their trucks. Anything they need, they'll start moving that into the area where the stormwater is going to be repaired. So just want the council and the public to be aware of that. And Glenn, if you want to put that in the paper, that would be good. They're going to try to come in very quickly, bring in a couple of crews, is what they said today. Is that correct, Denny? And they're going to try to get through this very quickly. The worst part's probably gonna be at Mountain Street, where they have to come across the street right there. And we'll be working on that, sending out public announcements so that people will know to avoid that area. But just want to let people know that that will be starting very soon, so. Public comments. Would anyone like to give a public comment? If you do, you have up to 3 minutes to speak. And just come up to the mic and say your name, please. You'll have 3 minutes.
My name's Kim Deutsch. I'm here tonight to urge the council to move forward with the updating and replacement of the downtown public restrooms. I think you would all agree that our current restrooms are in dire state and have remained unchanged for decades, despite discussions about their renovation for at least 12 years that I know of, probably possibly longer. You know what? I sent y'all an email, and I have my statement here about public restrooms, but it's mute, I think, with this city council. I'm just gonna state that after tonight, I read or listened to every minute of those recordings. And they were disgusting, and there's so much corruption here. And I have lost all respect for this council, especially Angie, Jack, and Bill. So it doesn't matter what I say. And most people up here would be very hesitant to say something like that because they would be afraid of retaliation of you guys. I'm not here representing any organization, any business. I'm just here representing myself. And what Dr. Whaley said tonight is spot on. And I'm just so disgusted with you guys. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, please come up to the mic and, but, okay, you can go after her, please. Sally, you'll have to lower the mic a bit.
Hi, I'm Sally Pfeiffer, 736 Cardinal Drive. Thank you, Mayor. And I would love to have new restrooms downtown.
Can you speak louder,
I would love to have new restrooms downtown.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, my name is Cindy Glickert. Angie and I have a little bit of a history, and I won't say too much about that, but about 4 years ago, she wrote me a very nasty email, and then she read it to this whole group of people, and after that, she did not come back on the council for many years. Got revoted. That's up to the city of Blue Ridge. But I stand here with Kim. I agree with everything she said. I just talked to somebody in the crowd who made a comment about the fact that they were in the bathrooms. There is no toilet paper. Things are awful. I don't like to be in an area where a city council constantly has one person with two other people that constantly override common sense. And we seem to have a council that does that right now. It didn't do it with the last council, but now all of a sudden it's happening again. And that's what we fought so hard for 4 years ago, to get that to not happen. This council has to start working together. The city of Blue Ridge is the diamond of Fannin County. It's a wonderful place. We all love living here. But somehow, when a certain person gets on this council, the council seems to always go 3-2. And that's not right. This needs to be a unified governmental body. We have enough going on in this world that we're living in right now. And somehow, some way, somewhere, things have got to change. And if there's corruption here, the city is suffering because of it. The county is suffering because of it. And we need to come together. And Kim was right. Sally was right. I don't know if anybody else wants to stand up here, but I fought real hard 4 years ago to make sure that this council did the right thing. And everything Bill Whaley said was spot on. That's all I have to say.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Can I say one thing in response to that?
Well,
Is that
no,
legal or
let's,
not? I'm asking the question. If I can't, I'm not going to.
let's just not, because I
Okay,
think it
thank you.
breaks protocol of the meeting, so.
My name is Dale Green. I live at 337 Depot Street. Whether anybody in this room likes it or not, Blue Ridge is a tourist town. It's too late to stop that. You can't put the cork back in the bottle. We need to take care of the people that visit our community, because what they walk away with, the impression of our community, is going to determine down the road how this community continues to thrive or doesn't thrive. The restrooms are abysmal. You cannot expect the businesses in downtown Blue Ridge to provide public restrooms. We have to do that. The city has to do that. Those restrooms need to be torn down and rebuilt, but they certainly need significant upgrades. I'm not going to address the Wojon tapes except to say that I am disgusted with the discussion that took place on this council, and this council is now tainted with the allegations of impropriety. And I think this council needs to recognize that, and you need to fix it. You have lost the respect of a lot of people that I know in this city. And I think it needs to be corrected, and it needs to be corrected quickly.
My name's Brian Avery. I'm here representing the Blue Ridge Business Association. This is in reference to the restrooms. To the council and our residents and to our tourists, I stand here before you to address a matter of utmost urgency, pressing need for bathroom renovations in our beloved city of Blue Ridge. As concerned citizens, it is our duty to shed light on the serious public health issue that plagues our nation, a lack of adequate public restroom access. A recent article from Madrivo.com, published on February 16th of this year, highlights the urgency needed for societal change and active participation from individuals, communities, and businesses to address this issue. By acknowledging the problem and taking proactive steps towards enhancing restroom infrastructure, we can better serve the health and quality of life for all. Our beautiful city of Blue Ridge is not immune to this crisis, as you heard from others. The shortage of public restrooms poses significant challenges to our local businesses, resulting in additional costs for them and liabilities. Moreover, the image of the city is tarnished by the overcrowding, limited ventilation, and the unavailability of public restrooms, affecting the experience of the wonderful tourists who support and fund our local community. For years, the outdated nature of the downtown bathrooms next to the train station has been an embarrassment to our city. Efforts have been made to secure funds for new, safer, and sanitary bathrooms. And finally, in 2024, the money was allotted for that purpose. However, the project faced a setback when the council questioned the two-story bathroom plan. In response, the city administrator, Eric, had new plans made, incurring significant costs to the city for a single-story structure that would maintain the same stall count. On October 20th, 2023, Mr. Soroka presented the updated plans to the council, along with the information about funding through the hotel motel tax and the DDA account. Unfortunately, since October, the council has been inactive on this project. It was only after Mayor Haight called a special meeting on February 28th that the council voted on approving the project. However, there are objections raised by the Councilwoman Hart, suggesting this prioritization of spending for other projects in Blue Ridge, despite knowing that certain funds cannot be used for infrastructure projects, and the pushback from council led to a current contractor pulling out, most likely now causing the bid to be higher and costing the city more. We believe that actively addressing the public restroom crisis, we can improve the health and well-being of our residents and visitors. Additionally, we can enhance the overall image of Blue Ridge, create a more welcoming and vibrant city. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and we hope for once you'll listen to the people of the city and the county and the tourists. And we trust that you'll consider the importance of the issue and take swift action to address the public restroom crisis in Blue Ridge. I'm also going to turn into you a petition where we had significant signatures backing up this resolution.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay.
My name's Donna Thompson. I'm not going to give any of my addresses because it seems to be such a hot topic on Facebook. We're just going to let that keep going. I know that people here in the audience have been very interested in that. I wanted to read a definition, the word integrity. Steadfast adherence to a strict moral or ethical code or soundness. There's only one person on the city council. I'm going to exclude the mayor because she doesn't have any voting ability. You pretty much have stripped her of anything. I'm surprised that she doesn't even have mayor on the door. Dr. Whaley, I would like to say thank you for standing up. Brian Avery did a talk about a year ago where he said, this council is it so epitomizes groupthink because you never see a council or any kind of board that always votes the same way all the time. I appreciate, Dr. Whaley, you taking a stand. I know that that's hard. I know, Kim, I will tell you, you mentioned the word retaliation. I will tell you that I'll talk to you offline, but retaliation is something that members of this council and their friends who are sitting in the audience know very well. I've been the victim of it. Keep it up, I don't care. I'm glad that the Wojahn tapes came out. I'm glad that they were released. For the first time now, this city, this county, an extended area can see the city council for what they are. I've never seen one like this. It really, it really breaks my soul to watch it. It's hard. I lived in outside of Fulton County for a long time. I've never seen this in Fulton County. But Dr. Whaley, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you have shown integrity. I appreciate the fact that you have stood up for what is right for this city council, for this government body, and for the citizens. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, come on up. Is that you, Henry?
Good evening, guys. I'm Henry Furman.
Can you speak a little bit louder?
Yeah, I'm Henry Furman, 146 Depot Street, 18th Depot Street, and I'm hearing a lot about bathrooms. It's not that big of a deal to fix some bathrooms up. It's not that expensive. I'm a builder developer, but yeah, we need some fixing. But with that said, you don't want to get the state health department down your throat, which they will do because it's a public bathroom, and that's important. And there's a lot of stuff being talked about, like backbiting and fighting and feuding. I've been on councils for, 30-some years in different cities. And yeah, we had some of it, but you guys got to work it out. You got to think ahead. You got to think of, forget about us right now. Look 20 years down the road. You got a lot of things that we need to do for the future. And we can't waste time in just going back and forth and feuding, changing rules, regulations. Some of you guys don't even know what the codes are. I know. I went through it, never mind how, forget about it. But there's a lot of lack of education. You got classes that are offered for free, you're not taking them, and you need to take advantage of those. That's all I'm gonna say. So work it out, work through it, and you can handle it. Let the city be what the city is. We got a great city, let's make it even better, okay? Have a nice night.
Thank you. So is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes.
My name's Josh Schneider. I'm the owner of Blue Ridge Scenic Rentals. This is totally off the subject that we've been on, but I just wanted to kind of reiterate to the council, but also to the public. I'm so sorry, this is very short. There we go.
Yeah. And you can take it out if you need to, Josh.
But, you know, in the new House Bill 121, you guys are here for a meeting and you have your concerns. And I want to make sure that that's not a concern that comes up in the next meeting. House Bill 121 was passed this previous year, which allows side-by-sides to be on county roads only. What we were asking the city to do is to adopt House Bill 121 for the city. What happens is if you're coming off of a county road and it breaks right into a city road, those vehicles are then stopped by city police and then towed. Our business is basically being able to allow people to have on-road usage of street legal vehicles. These are not four-wheelers. These are not people going crazy on your roads. These are vehicles that have been approved by the state for on-road usage and are, for example, Kawasaki Teryx are vehicles that we offer. They have a maximum speed of 65 and a minimum speed they'll be at 25. It has to fall within that range. These are not turbo vehicles. These are not things that are supposed to be dangerous. But we wanted to kind of head that off and make sure that we're a positive part of this community, coming in and asking for permission, making sure that we're setting up things and following state laws, making sure that everything is licensed and insured and covered to protect not only the city but also the people who are going to be utilizing our service. So I want to make sure that I put that out there as to what that was because I know we'll have another meeting next month and wanted to kind of head any of that off. We're just looking to be a part of this community and ask for a lot of permission instead of a lot of forgiveness later on. I was a teacher in Fannin County for 3 years, taught in Gilmer for 7. My wife and kids go to West Fannin. You know, so we're trying to be a great part of this community and not a burden. And so that would be the purpose of House Bill 121 that we are looking to adopt. If it's okay to approach the council, I was just going to hand out that flyer
That's
that we
fine.
given
Yep.
last time as well.
Yep.
But in looking at that, you know, we purchased 2 units recently from Mason Tractor, had partnered also with Chris at Blue Ridge Yamaha, and they wound up not having the unit that we needed. So in our approach to this is it's not just one business winning, us being able to utilize local technicians, being able to travel to local businesses using that mode of transportation. I think it's a win-win-win for everyone. And of course, we hope that it benefits our business as we're trying to be a part of that community. So my name is Josh Schneider, and we're just trying to, it's called Blue Ridge Scenic Rentals, and it's just trying to give a different way for people to see ASCA, the downtown space, and be able to enjoy the beauty that we have in this county. So thank you for your time, and thank you guys for putting it on the agenda.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Anyone? Okay, we do need an executive session, so if you will, please.
Can I
Yes.
now I wanted to address one thing that was brought up frequently. I have been told that between 6 and 12 times since we've had this city council, I have recommended to the council and mayor that we have a session with the Georgia Municipal Association for how governments are supposed to work. Each of those has been shot down with the statement that I don't need a class. I know the charter better than the city attorney, and we don't need anybody coming up for Atlanta telling us what the voters want. I already know. I think this meeting tonight is proof positive that we need the help of the Georgia Municipal Association, and we're 2 years and 3 months late. And the first time I recommended this was in late February, the year we came in office, after we had had the mandatory education for newly elected officials. And they're down there and they want to help us, and I've said that at least 6, some people say as many as 12 times. So it's out there. You've asked us to do it. I've asked us to do it, but it's been shot down. Sorry.
Well, on a side note, GMA's having their convention in Savannah this June. Sign up is next week. They have a lot of really good educational classes. I've been several years. Amy's planning to go next year. She went last year with a group of us from the City Hall. There are many good classes that the council wants to take advantage. We're signing up next week, so that would be a good one. Okay, do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, everybody, well, I think you had 2 seconds, Amy. Is everyone in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you all for being here. Will you pass that to Amy to be part of that can be actually part of the packet or minutes? Yeah, thank you.